This is the 1000th opportunity everyone will miss. Technologies are releasing at a faster and faster rate, so people digested Web3 crypto, and that hasn't really had its massive Cambrian moment that probably still lies ahead. But it was the fastest adoption of any technology the world ever seen until AI came along. AI is going so fast that it's literally kind of crypto to the power of 5 or something. You can't even track it. It's like going within. There's a lot of other things happening because, like self-driving cars, everyone's up worse. Never gonna work. It's not going to happen. Then before you know it, they'll be everywhere, and there'll be no drivers. No Uber drivers, no taxi drivers, no bus drivers, no delivery drivers, no truck drivers, no drivers. And that's going to happen probably within less than 10 years, but we'll see that at scale. What is, I think, the manifestation of the metaverse, because people have seen that Meta kind of dropped the ball, and they don't know where they're going with it. I have a feeling, and I'm not sure, but we know that Apple's headset is coming out in June, I think it is, and there's this whole, I don't know if you've been following this NEF technology, this digital 3D. It's like digital photography in 3D from your phone, wow. And it basically allows you, from what I can tell, to have photo 3D worlds that you create off your phone. So we're now not talking about like an Unreal Engine developed thing, but we could meet in my physical lounge, which is 3D. It's kind of mind-blowing, and it looks like Apple is at the forefront of developing this along with the new headset. And again, people think, oh, metaverse, it was just a buzzword, it's gone away. My point being, it's likely to throw a tat in the ring on top of this exponential age. Then self-driving cars come along, then, and so on. Investor and Real Vision founder Raoul Pal is a huge advocate and investor in cryptocurrency and blockchain technology. He believes that because of the exponential nature of the technology, combined with Metcalfe's law, which means the value of a network exponentially increases as more users join the network, crypto is the best risk-to-reward investment available. However, there's another reason that Raoul thinks has been dismissed by most investors and institutions, and that reason is the metaverse. With everyone seeing the disaster that was Facebook and Mark Zuckerberg's crash and burn with their shift in focus onto the metaverse, most people now have a disdain for what they think is just a Web3 buzzword and believe it has all crashed and burned. However, big institutions have been working on the metaverse in the background, and specifically, the largest company in the world, Apple. Apple is coming out with a virtual reality headset in the next few weeks, and Meta hasn't stopped working on virtual reality technology and the building of online worlds. Over time, we will see the fruition of all this work done behind the scenes. The bottom line is that communities will be built upon and lives will be lived in the metaverse. It will need a digital currency and method of transacting that is native to the online world. The obvious solution is cryptocurrency. Raoul, sitting alongside Sandy Cool, discusses the future of the metaverse and how online communities and tokens will fuel cryptocurrency and blockchain technologies into the future. Make sure to stick around to the end of the video where Raoul and Sandy speak on the opportunities they think are being missed by investors, and I'll also break down their metaverse analysis. Also, only a small percentage of my viewers are actually subscribed. If you enjoy finance content, consider subscribing or liking the video. It's free, and you can always experience it in its own right. You and I have chatted many times and never met, but I feel like I know you because we've spent plenty of time chatting this kind of stuff. In a few years' time, we'll be kind of sitting next to each other, but not physically. What we've done is going back to your original hypothesis. In this new decentralized, globalized, networked world, we're rebuilding societies in ways that still work for humans, but are different for the digital age, very different. I think in some ways that would add a much more personal dimension to the way that we are engaging, right? These screens are great. I feel like I know you well as well, right? I feel like we have such fun conversations. But it will add that physical dimension to it, so that we feel like we are in the same room and visiting with each other, right? And that will take away a lot of this physical need, I think, to traverse the whole globe and to go through the wear and tear of travel, right? Like people will be able to build relationships all over the world, just like they've used social media forms to build communities all over the world now. And yeah, I don't have kids, but I figured this out a while ago when I went to my oldest friend's house, and it was a Saturday afternoon. We were having lunch, and his son was in a gaming chair with his headphones on, chatting away with Fortunate, I think it was, or one of the big games. And I'm like, what's he doing? Why is he not out playing football with his mates or doing what we used to do? hanging out at the shopping mall with our friends and drinking coffee and figuring out where the party was. And he's like, he's with his friends now, I'm not. What are you talking about? This is. Yeah, and I realized that he was hanging. So it's like he's got his friend in the US, his friend up the road, his friend in Manchester, and they're all chatting and they hang out all day in this digital world. Now you and I, didn't grow up like that, but that generation knows no different. To them, it's kind of weird that you don't have that world. Well, and it's about connection again, right? We talked about how we used to use phones, and I remember I could only walk as far as the phone cord would allow me, and being so excited when my parents got a longer phone cord because I could go into a different room, right? But it's that same connection. It's just our only options were to get together with other children in the neighborhood to physically connect because there was no other medium. But now they really are living these very different global lives with people that they can connect with from so many different parts of the world and society. So maybe some real good will come out of that too, and that people will begin to, really start to accept people from other areas more and accept people from different backgrounds more as they connect more without having the physical limitations of where they're currently located. So, with all of this going on and you talking to a lot of people, what do you think the next big thing is that people are not seeing because there is so much going on? What do you get? Sandy is excited about saying how people don't know this is coming, but this is coming. What's that thing? I think it's going to be, this idea that I carry my community and its privileges through a token that I can have with me at all times, where it unlocks physical experiences as well as digital experiences. So Web3, you think, is the thread that ties all of this together? Yeah, I think it's going. It creates the economic backdrop, which we've talked about with these networks, and these decentralized networks that are extra-governmental, right? No government controls them. But what I think it also creates is this ability to execute these smart contracts and this smart contract language in a vehicle that is completely transferable and carryable in a mobile device. So all of a sudden, it's like the ticket to everything, right? It's not just the ticket to the concert. It's the ticket to the concert, the ticket to getting into a special community where I'm getting exclusive merchandise and exclusive access. It's the ticket into a set of classes where I might be learning things that are important to me to be able to develop my own skill sets. It's the ticket to travel to meet up with other people in the world that are equally interested as me, right? And as the metaverse develops more, it might be the ticket into really joining in exclusive clubs where I feel like I'm together with these people physically, even though that's still a digital experience. So, I think it's this idea that we're starting to now pull the access to this whole digital world, not on a phone. First, it was on a computer, then it was on a phone, and now I think it's going to be on a token that we can basically utilize whenever we are, wherever we are, and really create that combination of the physical experience and the digital experience. That's what I'm most excited about. We've done that at Real Vision now, so we have two different NFT communities. One was our Genesis community, and then second is the Real Vision Collective, and we have token-gated access community content, token-gated access Telegram, token-gated access to our Discord. We've done token-gated access metaverse experiences on Vatom, and yeah, we're building this entire out for exactly the same reason. I think this is the future of how like-minded people coalesce around like-minded courses. Unbelievable, yeah. So we've even got a fancy trading league, which is on-chain. So we've got teams from around the world competing against each other with portfolios, but it's recorded on-chain, so it's immutable. So there's no cheating involved. Eventually, we'll probably tokenize some of those people because that's happening. We're also seeing we've been doing crowd-sourced asset allocation by asking people their crypto allocations and then looking at that as a portfolio and seeing how it performs. And it does pretty well because they're highly educated people in the Real Vision network. Now, why would we not tokenize that as a product? Now that disrupts the whole asset management industry because now you've got the crowd making product for the crowd and leveraging their own smarts. That's right. And I think that is part of the decentralization of asset management as well, right? And that is, I think, one of the futures that we at Franco Templeton are thinking about. How do we participate in that future and still view ourselves as bringing our expertise out to the marketplace in new ways? And a lot of what you're talking about is exactly what we talk about, bringing our clients and the world into the same portfolios and the same research and the same thinking. That we're doing right, that it's almost like one of the things I talk about is the future might be the gig world where everything we do, we don't really have a job. We actually just interact with all these different communities and get incentivized for it, because that's where our passion and our interest takes us. So I also co-founded the NASA management business, which invests in digital asset hedge funds. The next phase of that is we're creating an NFT community around our LP investors, because normally asset management is, well, you don't get to talk to each other, you just feed you the information that you want and you give us money in return. So we thought, well, why do that? Why not put all these like-minded people because they like digital assets? They're generally high net worth or family offices or institutions. Why don't we create an NFT that creates a club for them to be part of? And then that's a place you can show specific deals or you can facilitate what they want to do. So the decentralized network says, hey, listen, we want to invest in discounted secondary and crypto companies because they're down 80%. So we spin up an SPV for them. Maybe it's tokenized, maybe it's not tokenized. And so the network now works together for the benefit of the network. And that we're doing within an asset management company which has other stuff. So I'm all over this, I love it all. And the other thing with that is, think about all these LP investors into these hedge funds. Also, many of them have built their own direct investment and co-investment teams over the last decade. And think of the asset pool that they currently own and how having this type of community gives them such a different option for how to monetize and really get the full value out of those investments and really look to exit those investments in a completely new way, right? Also, think about it. Good stewards of the space we can be if we can be instant capital. So if you think that, the Constitution DAO idea, so imagine there's a startup that wants capital and it might suit our community, they would probably come to us very easily because we're not the big institution that sees 1,000 things. It can be very adaptive because you've got a network of a couple hundred people and like 10 of them say, yep, we're all in, you do it. You can allocate capital very efficiently that way because you don't have the processes because the network takes the processes and separates them up. So I think it's going to be super interesting from that as well. I love it. I absolutely love it. I think it is definitely very forward-thinking and a clear extrapolation of where we're headed and why it's going to fit so well with the model of how society is moving, right? Exactly right. It's giving the power back to the people and the more you educate people, the more you give them the tools to succeed and then letting them work together, the better it's going to be. I really think we will see. It's probably still early yet, but I still think we'll see these guilds forming, these kind of DAO-based guilds. Yeah, where, if you think of this world where marketing is getting so disrupted by AI, well, you could have a pool of 100 marketing people who use AI, and the pool benefits from the overall revenues that get captured. And there's a token. So there's Roll and Sandy on why they think an explosion of technology is upon us, and a large portion of that will be made up in the coming metaverse. And they do have a point. The Metaverse has been completely dismissed and mimed into oblivion by the media, the public institutions, and investors alike. They have seen what has happened to Meta, formerly Facebook, share price, ever since they announced they are going to be primarily focused on the metaverse. However, perhaps they shouldn't have been so fast to dismiss it. With the biggest and the most resource-backed companies in the world throwing billions of dollars of research and development into the construction of the metaverse and virtual reality technology, there is some obvious advancement that are going to come out as a result. Combine this with other advancements such as AI and blockchain, and very fast the metaverse could throw its hat back into the ring and be at the forefront of everyone's mind once again. The first hint we will get if this is to unfold will be the release of Apple's glasses over the next few weeks and the reception it gets by the public. If the metaverse does grow into something big like Roll suspects it will, the need to transact value and funds will inevitably fall to cryptocurrency, which will undoubtedly fuel its growth and adoption. But what do you guys think? Do you think we'll see resurgence in the metaverse, or was it a crush and burn experiment done by Mark Zuckerberg? Let me know in the comments. Anyway guys, hope you all enjoyed today's video and that provided you with some value. I'll see you all in the next one, and as always, all the best.